We're back and better than ever. Mike and Mike on a very busy day on ESPN Radio. And joining us now in our studio, a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, an extraordinary success in the world of NASCAR, a three-time Super Bowl champion, a three-time NASCAR champion, and a devoted author with new work for you out there right now, including Game Plan for Life, Chalk Talks, a devotional, and a Game Plan for Life Bible, a whole lot more with the great Joe Gibbs in our studio. Good to see you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. It made me feel at home. We got the Redskin helmet there.
That's exactly right.
I'm still coaching.
Uh-huh.
I'm coaching my 10-year-old grandsons when they come along. I got 7 of them in 8-man tackle football.
Really?
Now, my grandson knows who I am. The other 13 little teammates, they don't know who I am, care who I am, and they're not paying any attention to anything I say. You want to talk about some wild stuff?
I hope you're making them run some laps.
I've heard the wildest things. We start off, we got what I think is a stud, right guard for us. He looked good in practice and everything. We start our first game, and 2 plays he comes walking out. And he goes to JD, my son, who's the head coach. I'm the assistant coach.
Right, of course you are.
Of course I am. And so I figured he broke his chin strap or something. He goes back in the game. 2 plays later, here he comes again. So this time I walk over and I go, Daniel, what's the deal? He looks up at me and he goes, they're hitting me in places where I don't have pads. And I go like this. I said, Daniel, see that bench over there? Yeah. And he looks at the bench and he goes, yeah. I says, here's the deal in football. You can go sit on that bench for the rest of the game or get back in there and hit them where they don't have any pads.
Oh, my goodness. Joe Gibbs is in our studio. Great. We'll talk about the books in a moment, but the topic on our show today has been about chain of command. Leo Mazzoni actually used that expression exactly, and it's a perfect one. I don't know if you're following this mess that's going on with the Red Sox right now, but the particulars of it aside, if you have a pro sports organization where the players, if they have a real problem with the coach, are going to ownership or going to the highest levels of management to voice those problems instead of going directly to your office. Tell us as a coach the problems that creates for you.
Well, I think I was always amazed in the NFL when you kind of see how the different teams are structured. They're all structured a little bit differently. Sometimes it's a general manager, sometimes it's a coach. But the one crucial thing I always felt for the coach, he decides who stays. You know, in my case, I have Bobby Beathard and Charlie Casserly there. They decided who comes. You work with them, and you make those choices. But it's important for you to be the guy that controls the players, and you decide who stays. Because I think without that power, you know, really, as a coach, the players are going to see right through that. You guys know that. They see right through whatever's going on in the organization. And so I always felt like it's very important for the coach to be the guy. And I think if the players can go somewhere else, then I think that probably leads to a real problem. I was blessed because I had 2 owners that understood that, Dan and Mr. Cook, both of them. And I was blessed with that. And, you know, I kind of felt like that was always really important.
You were so well respected, so I don't imagine it happened a lot. But were you challenged by players, and how did you deal with that situation?
I think at different times everybody's challenged by some players. I think but I think in general, the guys that I had and you wind up with on your team, they were so dedicated. People always ask me, how about the egos and the money? And I said, listen, I never coached a great player that was concerned about money. Once he stepped over that line, got his contract done, you know, my guys were focused on winning games for the Redskins, and they were totally devoted, really, to winning games, and they were never focused on money, and they weren't focused on, you know, how they could get out of things. They were, and really most of the time when we had meetings, I'd have meetings with 10 to 12 of our guys, depending on what that leadership group was, and I said, hey, if we were having a problem, I'd go, hey, you guys need to fix this. It's just your team,
right?
You know, really, and I really felt like it was. We had great guys that kind of led our team.
Mike and Joe Gibbs, interesting you should go to the idea about a player stepping over the lines. Right there in Washington, the Nationals are making a decision that has everyone talking, and that is they're going to take Steven Strasburg and they're going to put him on the bench for the rest of the year to protect his arm in the long term. Now, he's not even injured. In football, did you ever come across a situation where a player might have been injured, didn't have a contract situation the way he wanted it, and was hesitant to go back on the field and play for you because he was concerned about injury?
I'd say that you run into all kinds of situations when you deal with that many football players, and most of them have careers, and they do deal with their contracts and injuries. And so I think it kind of runs across the board. You know, I will say that Like I said, I think our teams, we kind of won football games because of our players and because of the kind of character they had. And but you do run into situations like that, and they come up from time to time. That's part of dealing with pro sports. Pro sports, people get paid. There's money. There's that part of it. There's agents. And so you got to deal with all that in pro sports. It's just part of life.
Joe Gibbs is here again, Pro Football Hall of Famer, 3 championships in the NFL, 3 championships in NASCAR, and as I mentioned, a prolific author, a new book, The Game Plan for Life, Chalk Talks. Tell us about the book.
Well, we came on 3 years ago, and we had a project, and really what we were doing with that project, we asked the question, what's life? And you know what it came out to be for us in that book 3 years ago? Life's a game. You and I are the players. Okay, so if we're playing the game of life, the biggest game of all, what do you got to have a good game and a good game plan? You got to, first of all, decide what team you're going to be on. In this case, there's only 2 teams. God's, you play against him. You got to decide who's your head coach. In this case, the book laid out, it was God. And then we got to have a great game plan. And that's really what that book was all about. It was trying to say in the first book, Game Plan for Life, that there's a relevant modern-day game plan for life, and it's God's Word, the Bible. And we had 11 scholars write 11 chapters on what America says they need to have victory in. So that was the first book. What we're coming out now with Chalk Talks and the Game Plan for Life Bible, and really what this is equipping people to play in the game. In other words, you play football, you got to have pads, you got to have helmets, you got to have, you got to be geared up and ready to go. These are tools that will help people play the game of life. That devotional is 40 different situations for me where I kind of got in trouble in a game. I was playing a game of life and got in trouble. And what it details there is how my head coach, God, helped me play through those situations and come out the other side victorious. And then the Bible, of course, it kind of it's an unusual Bible because it's got the 11 different topics that are inserted in there where they come up in the Bible. So it's two tools to try and help people play the game of life, and they can help others around them, whether it's their friends, family, mate, children, in my case, grandchildren, help them play the game of life and win in the game of life, the biggest game of all.
It's great. Joe Gibbs, the book's available now.
Just like the great advice you gave that 10-year-old guard.
Go ahead in. Very quickly, we have 30 seconds. Have you seen a little bit of RG3?
Saw a little bit. Everybody's excited. I'm a Redskin fan, the biggest Redskin fan. Everybody's excited. I think everybody thinks it's going to be a heck of a year for the Skins.
Should be very interesting.
Yeah.
We did the Washington two-a-day this morning, the Tampa Bay two-a-day this morning. You can see all of our two-a-days up on the football page there. It's the ESPNradio.com/NFL. It's the NFL Preview Center page at ESPNradio.com. We'll do the Jaguars and the Panthers tomorrow. Joe Gibbs will be here all day long with these books. Great to see you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. GamePlanForLife.com, and we'll give you a free gift if you go to the website.
There you
go. Our Golic will be there. Anything free.
Anything freeze for Mike. Are you kidding? He'll be there.
Yeah.
Great to see you, Coach. Thank you. The great Joe Gibbs. What a day. Busy day it was. Great job, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Mike and Mike in the morning.
ESPN Radio.